Hi, I'm Kathy Mills from Short Film Edits, and I'm here with Jacob Tittl for an interview today. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Can we start this with you telling us a little bit about you?
My name's Jacob Tittl. I'm an actor. Um, I live in LA, and yeah, I mean, aside from, I don't know, I went to university for theater, realized that I wanted to get more into filming, and so I kind of unofficially minored in that, and then came out to LA, and it's been a while out here trying to navigate the waters of acting.
Mm. Yeah. What do you like more about film than theatre?
I like, what do I like more?
Mm.
I like multiple takes.
Yeah.
I like getting to improv. I like getting to try different things. Um, I really love cinematography. So being able to see shots lit a certain way versus being in the audience of a in a theater and um, yeah, you kind of got to put your binoculars on to see a lot of
Yeah.
what's going on with the acting.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what inspired you to start acting?
At a young age when a lot of people are asking you, what do you want to be when you're older? And
Mm.
I changed so many times. I didn't know what I wanted to be. First, I wanted to be a stuntman.
Mhm.
I was a really big risk taker when I was younger. And my mom didn't really like that. She's like, no, you're not going to be a stuntman. You're going to hurt yourself. It's not going to be a long career. And I was like, okay. And then I flipped to like being a cop, being a firefighter, being just like a doctor, just anything. And then I realized, you know what? Maybe if I do acting, I can do all of those things. And of course, my dad, he was a food critic and movie critic. And so he showed me all of the greats when I was young. And he was really passionate about acting as well. And I think if he grew up in different circumstances, he would have pursued acting.
Yeah.
He
Well,
actually is now.
cool.
He lives in San Clemente, which is about like an hour and a half, 2 hours from LA. And
Mhm.
sometimes he'll come out here and do roles.
Oh, that's
And so I
cool.
really want to write something and put him in it.
Yeah, do something together would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um, okay, how do you approach building a character?
Mm. How do I approach building a character? Well, back in high school, my theater teacher, he kind of got us involved in like Uta Hagen, which is a lot. It's a little bit of overkill, I think, for me. Like I don't think I need to know where my character went to high school or just all these like little nitty gritty things that I don't know, it probably works for some people. I usually try to find some sort of relationship between me and the character that's mutual.
Yeah.
Because if I was cast as this character, obviously the casting director, or producer saw something in me that can play that character. And so to get the most genuine performance I can, I try to at least find that common ground. Um, yeah, aside from that, just going back to college, it would be, like the intro classes where they're like, okay, how do they walk? How do they talk? How do they carry themselves? Just little mannerisms like that. I think that's something that I'm still working on.
Mm.
Um, just because I don't want every single character to be Jake.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like I walk and sit a certain way, talk a certain way. Um, yeah, so I think that I really try to dig deep for a lot of the emotional um, intelligence of the character or lack of,
Mm.
and just kind of going through their thought process of how they deal with situations and how they react.
Yeah. And that will change to every single character you play. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Which role has surprised you the most in terms of how much you've learned from it?
Ooh. if we're talking about for the screen, I would say it was honestly in a vertical called Start Over. I
Mhm.
was playing a character, his name was Elvis, and this character was far from me emotionally. He was kind of a stunted adult who didn't really know how
Mm.
to love and um, lacked emotional intelligence. And so he became sort of obsessive and controlling in his relationships. But I think deep down, his character really had a good heart. He
Mm.
just really didn't know how to navigate it.
Yeah.
And I just remember doing some of those scenes and feeling so conflicted of like, I just don't understand this guy. And trying to understand him through the process, I think is what built who that character was.
Mm.
And yeah, it kind of just made me feel like an outsider at first, but I realized that we do have a lot more like in common. And
Mm.
yeah, I learned a lot from that. And then as well as just some of the scenes being so intense because he goes into these rages, fits, and I'm definitely not that person.
Mm.
And and through a couple of those scenes, the director just kind of coaching me on the spot while we're rolling. Uh, it was difficult just being in
Mm.
that moment and having to instantly just be like, okay, I am the character. How is this character going to act right now in this situation with this direction? Um, and also keeping in mind where and this one I was like all over the place in the room, and I'm like, where like I have to be mindful of where the camera's at.
Mm.
Can't turn my back fully to the camera. Um, yeah.
Mm. How did you go about understanding him better?
The director actually helped me a lot with that. Um,
Mm.
not to go any, not to go into anything too personal that she told
No.
me, but she basically told me she had experience with men like this.
Mm.
And, she pulled me aside a couple times and told me what she thinks the direction of this character is. And
Mm.
it did really help me understand how what he was doing with his um, compulsive, controlling, uh, was really just sort of like when you see a like a puppy or a kitten and you're like, oh my God, I love it so much. I just want to like
Hmm.
squeeze the love out of it. It was sort of something like that she helped me with. So I have to give her
Yeah.
credit for that.
That's really good. It's really good. Okay. How do constraints in short form projects sharpen your creativity?
Constraints, I would say, because we're moving so fast and we really don't have time for a lot of takes.
Mm.
Honestly, just being able to turn it on and off so quickly
Yeah.
and learning that prior in the first few projects that I've done, and then realizing that, okay, that's a skill that you can acquire of just like that. And then being in it, and then and also with these short forms, it's like anything can happen after they call action. And so just going with it and improving your way through it is sometimes that's the best of the stuff that comes out is when you're
Mm.
improving.
Yeah, and it changes with like the way that it's shot because it's no consistent. So you've got to be like on the go all the time with that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You're listed as an actor, director, editor, and producer. How does these roles inform each other creatively, and which one challenges you the most?
So just a little backstory is when I was in college and I decided to go more into filmmaking, uh, I had shot two web series, and one of them, the first one, I basically became the director. It was sort of things where I just kind of accidentally fell into it because we didn't really have anyone else. And we had finished like a 7 episode web series and we lost our editor. And so I had all this footage and I had taken editing classes in college. And so I was like, okay. And I just kind of taught myself the rest. And then I just kept going. I did the next web series and then just everything, short films, sketches. And then I just found myself getting better and better.
Mm.
And then I had to eventually start directing my own stuff. And I will say that I think editing of all things is what's best informed me as an actor. I was like, why does my continuity look like crap? Why did I do that? Or why did I make that facial expression? I look like that? And then I was like, you know what? Next time let's do better. And then I, just project after project and then realizing kind of the aura and presence that I have when I'm on camera was shaped by that. And the humility and the humbling nature of just watching yourself over and over again. It was brutal at first. And then eventually you're like, okay, this is who I am. Uh, and how can I get better?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say, yeah, editing. Um, and I think being an actor actually helped me be a better director.
Yeah.
It's kind of the opposite with that.
Yeah. See, I've done a few, like, I've been like camera person, videographer for some things, and I also do a bit of editing. And you can see, like you said, so much more in the editing room than what you can from either like just behind the camera or being in front of it. You notice everything in the editing room.
Yes. And then when you're the person on camera, of course,
Hmm.
you're going to be so brutal to yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think that that fades the more you do it because you're like, okay, well, it wasn't as bad as last time. And then yeah, you just keep going with it.
Yeah. I mean, I have to edit these interviews and then sometimes I'm like, why did I do that? Or like I'll make a mistake like I just did before and I'll be like, damn it. But you know what? We're human. So when we learn from these things. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. On the rehearsal and Wild West Chronicles, you had more traditional TV roles. What's a key difference in your preparation for those versus vertical dramas?
How does my preparation differ?
Mm,
Well, because verticals are so fast paced, and sometimes you get cast like last minute.
mm,
You don't get a whole lot of time to prep, and we are shooting basically a feature film in a week, week and a half. And yeah, we're moving so fast each day. It's like, one scene has to be super emotional, and then they're expecting you to just get into it. And then you're like,
mm.
okay. I think that with more traditional um, jobs, it's so much slower. You can take your
Yeah.
time. Also, just differing in the scripts because
Mm,
with um, not, and I swear I'm not talking bad about verticals. I hope
mm.
no one finds me and blacklists me. But verticals do have a little bit more of a two-dimensional story characters. There's archetypes, and it's like, okay, I got to play the villain. I know what they want. Let's just do it. And then with the more traditional TV roles, there's just so much more complexity and dynamics in these characters. And, I just want to do a good job. It's that high caliber of like, oh man, it's going to be on TV. This is a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you
Um,
can dive more into the character that way.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And there's more
Okay.
nuances, like the subtlety.
Yeah.
That's something that I've tried my best to keep when I do verticals.
Mm,
I try my best to do the movie acting, and sometimes you just can't do it. Like
yeah.
the scene, and you understand what they need from the scene, and you're like, all right, let's do the soap acting now.
I mean, I'm a big believer that subtlety is the most impactful thing. Like,
Mm,
you can say a lot by facial expressions without words. Um,
yes.
but I know in verticals, you just don't have the time sometimes, or like,
Yeah.
I mean, I pick it up sometimes. Sometimes they have the freedom and space to do it, but most of them, but again, even in like the editing room, sometimes you can leave it running for a bit and get that subtle emotion, but they don't use it,
Yeah.
so
One of my I would say like my recent actors that I'm really looking up to would be like Cillian Murphy and Tom Hardy. Their subtlety, Cillian Murphy in Peaky Blinders is just a force. Like
mm,
watching his close-ups and he does sort of that Al Pacino like you you're looking at their face and you're on the edge of your seat because you're like, what are they thinking? And you can just see
yeah,
behind their eyes that the wheels are turning and you're like, but what is it? And
yeah.
so and they keep you waiting. They almost like keep you at a distance on purpose. And I really like that a lot.
I like that a lot too. I love that a lot because it keeps you guessing instead of just
Mhm.
getting the answer straight away, which keeps you enticed in the movie or show. So I love
Yeah.
that. Okay. What's one role you felt taught you the most about your craft?
Ooh. You know, I'm not gonna double back and go and say that it was the Start Over project on this one. I think what taught me the most was uh back in college.
Mm,
In theater we had to do these monologues every start of the year in front of the board. And there was one I wanted to do from a chorus line, and I feel like my emotional depth was lacking, and I just really wanted to feel it, and I wasn't. And um, I don't know. I got to the point where I was just like, I was praying to God. I was like, God, please, like, this is today. And this was like the morning of, and I was like in the shower. I was like going over the monologue in my head. I was like, please just help me feel this. And it it happened like a ton of bricks in my head. It was just like boom,
mm,
just waterworks. And I wasn't really that great at doing these emotional scenes. I I could just feel like I was indicating. And then that moment, it was honestly too much. And then I went to go
mm,
do the monologue, and then of course I started crying too early because
mm,
I didn't have any control of it yet. And then my professors liked it. And then I came back the next year and I'm like, you know what? Okay, we're gonna do another emotional monologue, but we're gonna get our shit together and we're
mhm,
gonna do this right. Don't just like jump the gun. And I did that one, and I thought I nailed that one. I actually had to film it instead of uh, doing it in front of them. I did it in front of one of them while he filmed it so he could show the rest. And that was actually because I had a small part on Mad Men a long
mm,
time ago. Uh, but that one was tough for me because as I was rehearsing that one, and it sounds, I don't know the word I'm looking for, um, but basically I just couldn't get out of what the character was feeling.
mm,
Um, like, because I kind of work with this sort of like what if method, a little bit of like
yeah,
Meisner, and I kind of conditioned myself to think that these circumstances were real. And I'm like, oh, but it's just pretend. Like, I'll just get out of it. And it wasn't working. Like, even after I had done the monologue, like the monologue would kind of just reappear in my head like weeks later. And then it would start to affect me. And
mm,
and the monologue, I had a daughter and I had ran her over
Oh,
by accident. The character was like drunk and on cocaine. It was his birthday, and he ran over his 6-year-old daughter. And he was telling that story. And obviously, I don't have kids, and I don't know why it affected me like that. And I went to my professor, and he's like, he didn't have the most amazing advice. He was just like, "Oh, you're lucky you can get there." But then he went on to say, like, you need to have methods after that get you out, some sort of habitual, like, um, decompressing. Uh, yeah, but I think
yeah.
that's something I'm still working on, and it did teach me a lot about how powerful that is and how you got to kind of like protect your mind as an actor.
Yeah. I mean, I have a 6-year-old, so I definitely wouldn't want to relive that continuously.
Yeah,
Um, but at the same time, I think in our daily lives, we always go back to something that, sticks in our head, and we've all just got to try and find a way to navigate out of that. But with characters, I mean, I'm sure there are some training techniques out there that I don't know of that could help that.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Do you think wearing many hats on a project gives you more control over your performance?
I would say yes and no.
Mm,
Depends on specifically what control that I want over my performance. I would say just being an actor is great
mm,
because then I don't have to have the director hat on.
mm,
I don't have to think about, oh, okay, we're cutting from this to this. Okay, do we have coverage on that? And then it's like, wait, oh no, get back into character. Um, I would say, yeah, it's nice to kind of be just an actor and being able to really just tune everything else out
mm,
and kind of get in that Zen mode before you gotta, let everything go and just right after
mm.
action, just, be that.
Yeah. Like knowing all of those other aspects of it, do you feel like sometimes as just an actor, you're like, oh, this is where they're going to cut this, or, maybe I'll do this for the editing, or does that go through your head, or do you just try and forget about it?
All the time. And
Mm,
there's never there's never like a right or wrong. Like I
mm,
could be like, oh, they're probably gonna cut it like this, or oh, we're probably gonna block it like this. And then it turns out that they're not doing it like that. And
mm,
it's just me thinking, oh, this is the easiest way, or this is the quickest, or this is gonna look better on camera. Um, and it's been really tough on verticals to just because I remember first doing the verticals and it was a lot more of me just being like, oh yeah, we're gonna do like this, and now I'm like I'm trying to shut that part of my brain off and just be
mm.
like, just sit back, relax, not your job, smile and wait.
Going with no expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What do you want casting directors to see in you that maybe they haven't yet?
Hmm. Wow, what a question. That I'm available. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm free from this date to this date.
My schedule is completely open. Um, no, I would say probably I mean, they're kind of counterintuitive, but two things is just because I don't tend to get a lot of intensely emotional scenes, um, like complex ones. Uh, and so to be able to show how I navigate through those and how naturalistic I can be and real and raw, I would love for me to get the chance to be in front of casting directors and show them that. Also, comedy.
Love
I
comedy.
really want people to see that I might be funny.
Hmm
I'm not gonna say I'm funny.
Might be. Sometimes.
Might be. It depends on the day, and it also
Mm.
depends on the room. Are they
Oh,
feeling it? And if
absolutely.
not, I guess I'm not funny, and then I'll just quit acting.
Circumstances play a huge part in whether you're funny or whether you find something funny. So,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Do you feel more selective now than when you first started your career?
Hmm. Yes
Mm.
and no. Um, I mean, I've always been a person that's like, I'm down for it. Let's do it. Like, I just want to act. Um, but if, you know, and I can't say this either because verticals have the archetypes, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna keep playing the same characters over and over again,
Mm.
and I'll do that because it's work.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I think I just get more excited about doing something that I haven't done yet.
Yeah.
With like features or TV roles, something that is going to challenge me is really nice. But I wouldn't say I'm at the point of being really selective.
Yep. Yep. So you're open to anything kind of thing, just as long as you get to have a performance and get to work type thing.
Yeah, it's always fun to play.
Yes. Yes. And it's a learning experience no matter what the character is.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. So what surprised you most about working professionally in the industry?
How nice everyone was.
Mm,
Because back in the day when I first came to LA and I was doing background on big stuff, maybe it was because I was background.
mm,
These sets just seemed so intense, high
mm,
pressure. Everyone didn't really seem like they were in the best mood. Um, and I think on verticals, everyone's just been so nice and welcoming, and like from crew, directors, producers, um, you know, just every single little part of everyone that's involved on these has always been just a joy to work with. And it's
mm.
always exciting for me to like when I book a project and I'm about to go to set, just be like, oh, am I gonna see people that I already know? Am I gonna meet new people? And it's always just so fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you prefer playing roles with like people that you've already worked with, or do you like having like a new co-lead and exploring what you can create with them?
I like both. It
Mm,
is nice when it's like, oh, it's a familiar face, like we can catch up and talk about stuff, and then I'm already comfortable with them. But then it takes you away from, you know, meeting other actors in the space. And,
yeah.
you know, there's more room for friends.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Is there a project you almost didn't audition for but ended up booking?
Um, Kinda, yeah. So I had booked a role that for a vertical, and they were gonna fly me out to New York. Um, and then my manager called me and he's like, "Hey, we got a dilemma. You got a callback for the HBO show,
Oh,
and you already agreed to do the New York one." And and I love my manager so much. Curtis, wherever you are, shout out to Curtis. He's so nice, and he was just like, "Whatever you do, like I support it." He's like, "But it's HBO," and I'm like,
mm-hmm.
so I had to turn down the vertical just to just to do the callback for HBO. And then if
Mm,
I didn't, and I was already thinking, I'm like I would love to just do the callback and get in front of them, even if I get it or don't get it.
yeah.
And I was like, but I'm telling myself right now that I'm not getting it because I don't want to
Mm,
get my hopes up. And chances are that I'm basically not going to go to New York and I'm not going to be on HBO, whatever. And then I ended up going to the callback and booking it.
brilliant.
Yeah. And it usually doesn't work out like that.
Take the
But
win. Yeah.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
got to meet one of my idols, Nathan Fielder. He is, and it's so funny that because a couple months before I was talking with someone and I was like, I wonder because he does the show Nathan for You, and I had seen the first season of the rehearsal, and I'm like, I wonder on set because he's so good about staying in character, and he has
Mm.
such a weird, awkward character the whole time, and he just never breaks. And I'm like, I wonder if on set, because he's directing the rehearsal, I'm like, is he going to be the same person that we see on TV as his character? And he kind of was. There was
Mm.
a slight difference when he was directing. I noticed he talks a lot faster. He's so quick and he knows what he
Mm.
wants. And it was so interesting too because they kept us out of the loop for that. I thought I booked a normal HBO show. I found out like the night before that it was for the rehearsal because they keep that under wraps because of the nature of the
Mm.
show. And I don't know, it's just so funny because we didn't really know what we were walking into. We knew our scene, but I know from the show that he is a part of it. And so there was a, we're like all pilots. And I saw a couple pilots go into the cockpit. They're doing their scene. He's directing them. And then without telling them at all, I just see the hair and makeup go up to him and they start styling him. And he puts his sling that he has the laptop over him. And I look at the guy next to me that I'm about to act with. I'm like, is he about to go into, and like the cameras are rolling and this airplane cockpit is surrounded by a 180 of LED screens to fake like they're in the air. And I
Mm.
was watching the monitor and he just walks and you can see from the camera angle, like from the window of the cockpit, it looks like he's floating in the middle of a blizzard and while the plane's
Mm.
flying. And I was so glad that he did that with
Mm.
those two actors because if I was in the cockpit acting, I would have lost it. I would have started laughing because he didn't even tell him he was going to enter.
Mm.
And it was yeah, working on that show was definitely a highlight. It was very surprising to see it all happen.
It's such a good experience. And you can just like see the level of like talent and just like all those little things, like you said, that you didn't realize that they'd do just from being on that set.
Yeah, they put like the airplane cockpit on like a hydraulic system too.
Mm.
So it was kind of like one of those like virtual rides that you go on. And so they
Oh,
like
cool.
faked like the plane crashed and it looked like the guys got jolted pretty hard when I watched the monitor. But yeah,
Oh, the love of big budget things, you know.
I know, right?
Yeah, you can do all that
HBO
with big budget.
budget.
Yep, absolutely. I love that. Okay, what skill has helped you advance most in your career as an actor?
Patience.
Mm, yeah,
Uh,
big one.
I think, and it's not just patience of like, when am I going to work next? Am I going to work ever? Because I had a lot of those thoughts like early on when I was out here. Normally, when a lot of actors just give it up because they're like,
Mm,
this is never going to happen for me.
yeah,
And they're like, I got to make the call. And yeah, I've had so many thoughts that just felt like this roller coaster of like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go after, I'm gonna get it, and then I'm like, okay, I'm hopeless. Like, if only I was a nepo baby, I would be on the screen right now. And then also now being on set a lot, the patience there because verticals do move fast, but I still find myself being like, can we move faster just a little bit? Like, because no matter what, you're going to have so much downtime on set and being able to sit back into that and be comfortable and just be like, you know, we're here. Enjoy your time while you can. Make
yeah.
friends. Be patient. Be
Mm,
patient with yourself. Patient with
yep.
everyone else. Yeah, patience for sure.
I tell my children that all the time, even though they're young. I'm like, patience. If you have patience, that will get you very, very far. It's always the most important thing to have.
I think I'm still working on it. I think it'll be a lifelong pursuit, but
Yeah, I think we all do. And it changes day to day onto how
oh
patient
yeah.
you are. Like
Oh yeah.
every circumstances, I'm like, I'm not really patient today. Leave me alone. Yeah, I get that. Okay, what's the role you'd only take now that you're further along in your career?
Ooh, that I would only take now.
Mm.
Like I wouldn't take before because I didn't uh like I didn't believe in myself or
Like
so
maybe
I
you just thought back then you weren't ready for it, but now you think you are.
oh um that's a tough one. Hmm. Hold on, let me think about that one for a second.
Oh,
So I'd say a role that I see, I don't think that I am quite ready for this role. Maybe soon, but I would love to play a real person.
mm,
Oh wait, you know what? I already did that.
mm.
I I played a guy that had stabbed a woman like 101 times.
Oh.
And that one I actually had difficulty with because I researched him and I watched some of his interviews, and he's someone that's been in prison for 30, 40 years, and he
Mm.
still claims his innocence. And I saw
Oh.
his interviews and I'm like, I don't know, but I think this guy might be innocent. And with the way that they got his DNA is he was smoking a cigarette out back at work. They picked up the cigarette from the ground after he went in, and that's how they linked the DNA to the crime scene. But this is back in the 90s. And I don't know, just his interviews are very convincing. And I'm like, just thinking, okay, if you're in prison for that long and you're still claiming your innocence, I feel like
Yeah.
if I really did it, I would have given up a long time ago. Um, but yeah.
Look, I was just saying in my last interview that Shawshank Redemption is my favorite movie, and that is just like a perfect example of what you just said. So,
Yes, I love that movie.
yeah.
It's hard to watch multiple times for me. Um,
Mm,
it's just so sad and depressing, but
yeah. And it's kind of one that, like, I mean, I've seen it a few times, but it's one of those, like, because there's a big twist, it loses the shock factor the next time you watch it. But,
yeah,
I mean, it's still a brilliant movie.
like Seven. Oh my gosh. I actually
Mm.
watched Seven for the first time like a couple years ago. It blew my mind.
I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, you have to. It's
Mm.
Brad Pitt and I'm oh my God, I'm blanking on the other actor, very famous actor. I mean, it was a couple years ago. I'm forgetting who the actor was, and I'm
Mm.
embarrassed actually that I'm saying that I forgot. But
It's all right.
you got to see Seven. It's great.
All right. I'll look it up for sure. Is there any other ones that you want to play then? Like, or just a real character from something else?
I think I'm ready to be a Marvel superhero.
Yes. Which one do you want to be?
I don't know why I said that. I'm actually not a big fan of Marvel. Uh,
DC? Are you a
actually, you know
DC
what?
fan?
You know what? I was obsessed with Batman when I was younger.
Hmm.
Um, not sure why. Maybe because he didn't have any superpowers.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I kind of liked that he was a normal person. Well,
Hmm.
not really normal. He was
Rich.
rich. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bunch of toys to play with.
Yeah.
Kill some bad guys with some fancy gadgets that don't really exist.
That no one can afford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh. I mean, I know that there's so many people that have played Batman or the Joker,
Mm.
but I really like uh, the Batman universe.
Mm. Yeah. There are some good characters in Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Christian Bale, still my favorite.
Also, I feel like a very underrated performance in the Christopher Nolan Batman movies is
Mm.
Cillian Murphy's Scarecrow.
Mm.
Some of his scenes in there, because I had watched it when I was a lot younger and not really analyzing it like that, and then watching Batman Begins, and then he comes back. He Yeah, he's amazing.
Funny how you like watch things when you're younger and then you have the scope of what like acting and everything is now, and you go back and you rethink it and you're just like, wow, like I
Yeah,
didn't pick that up before. So,
yeah, you appreciate it a lot more.
absolutely. Yes. Okay. What skill has helped you advance most as an actor?
We already asked that one.
Have I? Maybe I have. Yes.
Was that the one I answered the patients to?
Yes, you did. We'll just cut that
Well,
out.
no, it's okay. It's okay. You know what? I have a second one.
Okay, we'll go
Well,
with that.
I have a second one. I already said it, but editing,
Oh, yes,
Wh-
yes.
being able to shoot and edit your own stuff, and it's a master class
Hmm.
for yourself.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. See, I did an interview before you and I just got lost in all of those. So I apologize for asking that same question
You're good.
again.
It's like 90 degrees in my apartment right now because my AC's broken. I'm
Hmm.
barely alive.
Oh, I've only got a couple more questions then. So, what's a piece of feedback you've received early in your career that still affects how you approach a role today?
I would say one of the first things that I didn't fully understand at first that I do now is, and it's very simple, but it's if you don't know what to do, do nothing.
Mm,
Because it's better to not it you don't want to force anything. You don't want to be indicating as an actor. And
mm,
so in that moment, well, because I don't know, I feel like when I'm acting, I try to let everything go and just be in the moment. And if I'm not feeling anything in that moment, I'm not going to do anything.
mm,
That
mm,
was one thing. And then I feel like another thing is, I guess, yeah, just the letting everything go. Like
mm,
prepare before everything. And then, and then you kind of, at least for me, what I do is like, I'll prepare. And then shortly before we're shooting, I just kind of get in this like Zen state of like, I'm thinking a little bit about my preparation, but I'm knowing that right when action's called, I've shoved all that into my subconscious, and
mm,
then I'm just trying to kind of erase a lot of things that I've preconceived about what I'm going to do, just because it's not going to be authentic when I'm acting. I try to act like I'm living this for the first time, because that's what you're going to get the most genuine performances.
yeah, I understand that. Okay, I have two more questions. What's the funniest moment on set?
All right. Uh, I got two.
Hmm.
I got two. So one was so there, I did a lead with Brooke Multrum,
Hmm.
Mr. Williams' Mistaken Misses, and it's like the end of the day, and we were like sitting at like some sort of board meeting table, and it was me, her, uh, Joey, blanking on the other actor's name. Um, we were all doing this scene where it's kind of before the climax, and we're all figuring everything out. Very long scene. But there was a line that I had to say because I am engaged to um, the person that wants me to be engaged to them, but I don't like them. And Brooke says like, "Oh, but what about your fiance or who you're engaged to?" I'm like, to be honest, I'm disgusted every time she touches me. And for some reason, every time I said it, Brooke kept laughing, and then it was a domino effect, and then we all, and
Hmm.
there was other lines in the scene that were just it was just hard not to deliver these lines and it not be funny and just stay in it,
Yeah.
be serious. And it got to the point where the director's like, do we need to give you guys a second? Like we need it, like it was the last scene of the day, and we're like, let's just, and
Hmm.
we're tired, and when you're tired you can't stop laughing at the
Yeah.
ridiculousness. So there was that moment, and then there was this moment where I was actually playing an assistant for Ryan Henderson.
Mhm.
Yes, that's his name. And uh, it's me, Ryan Henderson, and then Zach was playing someone like connected to the mafia, and he has an older brother who's Armand. Armand wasn't in the scene yet. He's Zach's basically getting his shit handed to him, and then he goes his line. He goes, "No fucking way!" And then Armand's character, and Armand's huge, and he comes
Mhm.
like bolting through into frame. And after he goes, "No fucking way," Armand goes, "Yeah, fucking way." And then he immediately just like bolts in, "Yeah, fucking way," and then socks him.
Mm.
And that was also like last scene of the day type energy. Honestly, I think it was the last day of the shoot too.
Mm.
It was so funny. And Ryan was so tired. I was tired. Everyone was tired. And we all couldn't keep it together. And I think I saw the cut of that because I was like, oh, I want to see that line so bad. And I think they even cut it out because we couldn't get
Oh,
through it.
all
Oh,
right.
this is my
Who's
cat, by
this?
the way. This is
Hi.
Charlie.
Hi,
He only
Charlie.
looks he only looks angry because the lights are too bright.
I would show you my cat, but she'd probably rip me to shreds if I picked her up. So,
He just wants to get fed.
oh. All right. Well, one more question. If you could go back and relive a single day in your career, which day would you pick?
Relive a single day. That is a tough one. And we're not talking about reliving as far as like, oh, I do something different. It's just I want to experience that again.
Yeah. But you go back because you loved it so much.
I do miss theater.
Hmm.
I really want to relive. So when I first moved to LA, there's a group of theaters in North Hollywood, and I became friends with the guy who manages them for someone else. And he basically, when the theaters weren't rented out, we would put on plays, and a lot of the time like these sketch comedy shows. And he had written a sketch comedy series called One Night Stands, and they'd be these really short, bite-sized, like 5, 7 minute scenes that were really funny about all dealing with like one night stands, and you would watch them kind of like happen. But just having that audience, and especially with like sketch comedy and anything, just feeling the laughter and being like, I
Mm.
nailed that.
Yeah.
And just feeling the energy of making people laugh and feeling like, wow, maybe I made their day a little better.
Mm. I can completely see the difference between a different feeling you guys would get from being on film with just cameras and crew to being in theater with the whole audience just erupting when they love something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much for having this interview with me today. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Kathy. It was nice meeting you.
Yeah, you too.